Hello, and welcome to my introduction to the Virtual Minerals Identification website. This website is not hosted by Oakton. It's not produced by me. It is online and free, produced by another community college professor in Illinois. And the website is the Prof. Harwood or Harwood .x10host.com, and it's geology 101 /labs/minerals. And this website has been provided. When you go to this website, it'll open up to this page, which basically summarizes all the features that you need to know about a mineral. And we've already talked about these in my online lecture, so you can review them here. They're also reviewed in your lab book, so there are many sources for this information. Here is a description of common minerals. We're doing minerals in the same way, but we're not going to do all of these minerals in our particular lab. But it's a good description or summary of the various diagnostic properties. Now, your lab book has an example like this, and you're going to need to use that lab book along with this website to identify minerals. Down at the bottom, you see a summary of the samples. So your lab is tailored to be able to use these samples. And all you do when you're ready to begin, I've listed the samples you'll want to use in your particular lab. So it means you're using, let's say, option 1 for identifying minerals and rocks. You come down and click on your sample. It brings up an image of the sample. You can enlarge that image. So you actually, it doesn't enlarge it, it's just a different image. Actually, I prefer this image because you can see things like cleavage here and cleavage here, and you get the edges and the stair steps and so on. But it's a kind of a small image. If I back out of this, then we come back to this, to the mineral. Now, what you start out with in this site is a series of tests, just like I've showed you how to do these tests in class or online through the various minerals in the mineral library. So you get a hardness test, cleavage, fracture, streak, magnetic test, hydrochloric acid, and taste test. So for hardness, you might want to just start at the top here at 10 and say, well, the mineral is scratched. So what's happening there is someone's taking an object of a hardness of 10 and trying to scratch the mineral. And the mineral was scratched because it's softer than 10. So you click OK, maybe jump down to 7. The sample was scratched is the feedback you get from that test. Click OK, so that means the object of a value of 7 in terms of hardness was able to scratch it. And I know we're getting close here. 3, sample is scratched, hardness of 3. And then here, sample is not scratched. So the mineral is here is softer than a hardness of an object with a hardness of 3. Okay, cleavage and fracture, let's see what that is. One direction, okay, irregular fracture, okay. Streak test, we're going to get powdered white in color. Magnet test, so we're going to see, was it attracted, not attracted. Hydrochloric acid, sample did not react with hydrochloric acid. And then taste test. Now, normally, I just tell you what this is. No discernible taste. Great, so now you've recorded all of your observations, and you can actually record many of those in your lab book, and that's what you want to do. You want to record your observations in your worksheet at the end of your of assignment 1 when you're identifying minerals. Or if you're working on, sorry, that would be assignment 2. If you're working on assignment 1, you're just going to be going to different samples in this and telling me what some of the properties are for those particular minerals. So in this case, then the next step, if you wanted to identify this mineral, which is not part of step 1. Step 1 is just figuring out what the properties are. You would come down here and you'd say, all right, well, what's the color? It's white. What's the streak test? It came out white. So you'll toggle white. Cleavage, 1. Crystal form, that's its external shape. It doesn't actually have one. That one comes from your observation of the image. Scrolling down again, then we'll go not present there. Fracture, we were told it was irregular. We know it has a hardness of 2. Okay, so it's less than 3. It's non-metallic luster. Again, that comes from the image up here. And then Na for other, didn't react with acid, non-magnetic. Now, at this point, you've toggled all these things, and the question is, what is the name that you want to use? You need those identification tables from Lab 1, the Lab Assignment 1, to help you identify and come up with a name. There's nothing on this page that will link the worksheet that you're filling out to the mineral name. you need your lab assignment. So you're going to use your observations, record your observations in your lab, and then see how far it gets you with coming up with a name. Now, in this particular example, I'll click on gypsum here as my likely mineral. I'll hit grade, and it says, oh, I missed crystal form, okay, but I didn't miss anything else. So I actually got the mineral name right, the streak, the cleavage, the color, all right, but I missed crystal form. If I look at crystal form, oops, for some reason I didn't toggle something. I'll come down here, I'll hit not present, see what it says again. Congratulations, property and mineral were correctly identified, and it was gypsum. Okay, so the key is that you need to make this connection between the mineral name that's ultimately what you're after in many parts of many of the questions on Lab 2, and then make a connection between this table, which is all of your physical observations that you've just made. When you're ready to move on to sample 2, you simply move on to sample 2 and do the same sets of processes. So that's it for the virtual lab. I'll walk you through the rocks in a subsequent tutorial, how to identify rocks, but that's it for minerals.